Hello, Viking fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Viking Talk with Josh Morgan. I'm Brandon Davis, and as always, glad to have with me Warren Central head football coach Josh Morgan. Coach, great to see you.
You too, Brandon.
Well, congratulations, a 46-19 win last Friday night in the first round over Saltillo. I guess congratulations in order to you and the staff on that. Tell us what you saw after you watched the film of that game.
Well, going through the game, I felt like we had a really good week of practice. We all knew that it was playoff time, and I felt like we had that kind of focus. I felt like we had that kind of preparation, and I feel like we played the way we practiced all week. We were sharp, we were aggressive, guys made plays, and so it was just nonstop, really from the beginning. It was about the best first half that we've played all year long. Made plays in all three phases, and it was exactly what we needed. We talked about handling business and really starting fast, and I felt like we did all that. Blocked a punt early, and then it just we just never let up, and it was coming from a bunch of different guys in a bunch of different ways. So I was very pleased with our preparation. And the performance, I think, was an indication of how well we prepared all week.
326 yards of offense in the first half and 46 points, something we haven't seen around here in a while, but we'll certainly take it. Coach, we've talked about this, and you have said numerous times that you thought the offense was really close to being a really special unit. Second consecutive week of being able to play your reserves in the second half and having running clocks with that offense playing the way that they have. Talk about what you're seeing so far out of that group.
Well, we're definitely getting better. Anytime you score that many points, it's not easy to do, and I feel like we're gelling at the right time. I felt like our backs are getting better, and sometimes it requires patience, and sometimes it requires a burst. And the more that they're playing and they're getting better, our offensive line is really coming along and just getting better and really creating some big running lanes for us and protecting our quarterback. And Zach continues to make plays in the passing game. Maddox is doing what Maddox does, and so we're coming really into our own and really being that offense that we all felt like we could get to. And so very pleased of that. When we can do that and really put pressure on the other team, it allows us to play to our strengths defensively as well. So playing well in all three phases, but I'm very proud of the improvement and consistency that our offense has done. Early in the year it was third down conversions and negative plays that we just really had to focus on, and we've been so much sharper and consistently good and staying in front of the chains, and it's really helped us.
Well, you talked about special teams a moment ago. We started out the game with a blocked punt. Mike Hill, one of our seniors, came in, blocked the punt, got a safety on that. Jonah Artman kicked a 39-yard field goal in the game last week. Coach, you have to be really pleased with your special team unit. Second week in a row, they played lights out.
Yeah, everybody contribute is one of our mottos. We want if it's just special teams, if it's just one special team, if it's just one play, there's ways that you can impact the game and make that, really implying that and working hard at that. And we've been close to blocking some punts, and Mike was able to get one. And we turn around, they have to kick from the 20-yard line, and that gets a good return and sets up our next touchdown. And Jonah being consistently good and being that weapon that we all knew that he could be. And then Prince Marshall recovers an onside kick from our special teams, and so very pleased with that. Again, we want to take advantage in all three phases and play team ball, and it's really good to see us making plays in that area.
Well, surprisingly, this was the first game of the year where we had to deal with a little bit of weather, some of the elements, the rain last Friday night throughout the game. You had to be pleased with the way you executed in those conditions.
Yeah, it makes you nervous, when rain comes, because and it can impact the sharpness that you want to play with, and quarterback center exchange, or your running backs taking care of the football, and thought our guys handled that well. Our managers, I think about them, and I grab both of them by the neck and say, you guys can really help us win tonight, and drying off balls every snap and throwing them back in, and Again, it's everybody has a hand in it, and everybody's doing their job the best that they can. So they had a big part in that too.
Yeah, it was an outstanding effort by our managers keeping those balls dry because we thought rain was going to be out here by 6 o'clock, and you and I talked about it last week. It's going to be going early. It wasn't going early.
We don't know nothing.
No, we know nothing in terms of forecasting. So this is Viking Talk visiting with Josh Morgan. Coach, second week, round 2, going up against the Grenada Chargers. What can you tell us about this bunch?
Well, we watching them this week and preparing for them, and they're very balanced on offense, and I say that they have an explosive running back, maybe the most explosive one that we've seen, and that's saying a lot. Does a really good job making cuts and really hard to bring down, and he's fast and powerful. I think he's their best player, and the quarterback's the senior who's played a lot of football and close to throwing to 2,000 yards and has a lot of weapons on the outside. So they're balanced, and they do a good job of keeping defenses on their toes defensively. Very fast and physical defense, and runs to the ball and does a good job of defeating blocks, and they're very sound in the kicking game too. So when you see somebody in the second round, they're going to be a good football team. Grenada is that very, very well-rounded team. It's very well coached. That's got very good athletes and plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. So very good team. Played them in the spring game. Understand a little bit kind of how those matchups might go. Again, both teams have improved since then, but when you look at it and you go back and you look at certain matchups, and we had a really good game up at Delta State with them. So we know that this is going to be a big challenge. We know as you get deeper in the playoffs, you play better teams, and we're expecting a knockdown, drag out for 4 quarters, and we're expecting for that kind of game.
Well, this Grenada team, you talked about it. They're 9-3 on the season. They're led by senior quarterback Charlie Fair, coach's son. About 60 yards from throwing 2,000 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. He does a good job of taking care of the football. But what do you like about this young man's game?
I think he makes the right plays. Really smart. Doesn't get rattled easy. Sometimes the best play is throwing the ball away, and he does that for them. Gets his guys in the right places, and a really accurate thrower, and does a good job getting the ball to his playmakers. So he's when you look at a really good team, it's usually got a lot to do with the quarterback and the man running the show, and he's done a really good job with that.
McCaleb Taylor, number 5, you talked about the back coach. He probably is one of the better players on this team. 1,500 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns on the season, running the football. A big task for our defenses.
Yeah, he'll once you got everything controlled and you fit the right way, he still has that vision that a lot of backs don't have, that he can make cuts, and it just is hard to stop him for. One of the best things that we do are we tackles for loss. We really get behind the line and really create second and third and long situations. It's very, very seldom that people have been able to get him behind the line of scrimmage. He makes cuts, got great visions, runs with power, and he is truly a complete back. They use him in the passing game, coming out of the backfield, in the screen game, on roundups and wheels. So he is. They definitely are getting him the ball, and it's a smart thing to do. He's a really good player for them.
Region 1 MVP up there in the north part of the state, so a fantastic player. Something I saw, Coach, that really is kind of telling on this kid. He's got 14 receptions on the year and 5 touchdowns and not a lot of yards. That's telling you, inside the red zone, down close to the goal line, they like to utilize him.
They do. He's got to be accounted for. He's got to be accounted for at all times, and it says a lot when your coach is trying to get you the ball, and and it's well warranted. He's a threat everywhere he is, on every down. So he will be one of our main focal points going into the game.
4 good-looking receivers too that can catch the ball.
That's correct. One of them is 6'5", and it's hard to cover 6'5". I don't care if it's a good ball or ugly ball. 6'5" can get you out of a lot of trouble too. So we've got to do a good job. We've got to be balanced. We've got to know when to attack. We've got to make sure that we keep a lid on top of all their wide outs, and we also have to have enough in the box to tackle the running back. So we've got to be really good at what we're doing, the cat and mouse game on the defensive side of the football, make them earn everything that they get, and be opportunistic when opportunity presents itself.
And you've always said that a good defensive line can really help your secondary out. So getting pressure on the quarterback, moving him out, because it seemed like he's a great quarterback, don't get me wrong, but it seemed like, he's not as effective when he has to get outside the pocket to throw. So a good play from our defensive line is going to be vital this week.
Yeah, so we're asking a lot from them. They have to be big and physical in the run game, and then they also have to apply pressure. And so we feel like we have that kind of group with Ronnie and TK and Steph and LJ and AO, and we feel like we have those guys that can do that. So we've got to do got to be ready to go all night long and try to keep those guys as fresh as we can, because that's a daunting task. And we feel like that we have the guys to do it with. I feel like we have a good plan, and now they just really got to go and be special. One good thing about our D-line is they do a really good job. If they can't get there, they do a really tremendous job. Coach Wilson does a great job with them, teaching them to put their hands up, impacting the throw, tipping balls. And we've done that all year long, and we need them to come through for us Friday night.
Well, defensively, this Grenada unit, they're yielding 13 points a game, several talented prospects on this team. I think they got one Southern Miss commit. What challenges do you see that they propose to our offense?
Well, they're going to, it's a little bit different than we saw last week, where they had 8 in the box and they were going to come after you and stop the run and man up on the edges. Grenada is going to, basically play you in a shell and trust their D-line to be disruptive. Their linebackers do a really good job of reading and reacting and flowing to the football. Very physical and talented and fast. And they have not given up many points. They have been consistently good all year long. So it's going to be, we're going to do a good job of taking what they're giving us. We have to understand that, but we also have to make plays when those opportunities are there, and establish the run game will be big for us. So again, it's going to be a different kind of attack right there, but we feel like that what they do the best is run to the football. So we've got to be able to counter that, and sometimes that's running right at them.
Yeah, well, the defensive line at Grenada is probably the strength of their defense. Like I said, multiple talented players on there. A Southern Miss commit. They have, I believe, the MVP from the North in Region 1 is on their D-line. Also, one of the young men on that defensive line has 12 sacks on the season, I believe, from the D-tackle, D-end position. So offensive line, you talked about establishing the run. You need to see probably a super aggressive Warren Central offensive line this Friday.
Yeah, we need to be up to the task. Good thing about it is we've played some really good defensive lines. We played some really good defenses, and we feel like that, again, it's we want to look at that now as our strengths, and so those will be really good matchups. We're anticipating a really good game. If it's one of those where if I wasn't a coach, it would be a jam-up game just to sit back and watch.
It, yeah.
I mean, it's you got two teams that are really a lot alike in a lot of different aspects, and kind of have the same kind of coaching philosophies and strategies, and so it'll be a fun game to watch. It's going to come down to our players and their players, and we feel like we've had a good week and prepared, and man, we got to let it rip and be at our very best, and feel like our guys are ready to do that.
We played this Grenada team in the spring at Delta State. Obviously, both teams have improved. You talked about that. There's got to be some level of comfort knowing that you have been up against them, and for our players too, the confidence knowing, because when our ones were in there, we did extremely well against this Grenada team. So there's got to be a level of comfort knowing that you know a little bit about them.
I feel like our team is confident. I feel like our team is confident, has been confident. I think they're ready for this big challenge. But yeah, for what it is, the spring game, we were missing a lot of our guys in that game. We didn't play with several key guys of ours. Thought we competed very well. Thought we were able to run the ball and stop the run, and do some good things in there, as well as they did too. Yeah, when you're not just you totally don't know what to expect. You got a little benchmark there to go off of and kind of judge and things like that. But yeah, we're expecting a confident ball club, playing with a lot of confidence, really hitting it on all cylinders. Had a tremendous year. We're on a 6-7 game win streak,
Right.
and so our guys are confident, and it's not a cockiness confidence. It's just of just believing in each other, what we're doing, and really need that and really rely on that, and because it's going to. That mindset in these ball games like this, where it comes down to a possession or a play, handling the ups and downs that come with the game are going to be really important. So I like our mindset, and I like where our guys' heads are.
Well, as we know, we have a new classification in Mississippi at 7A. Most of those teams were 6A with us last year, and we've competed extremely well, being one of the powers in the state of Mississippi. In the last few years, we've made it to the second round of the playoffs, but hadn't been able to get over that hurdle to get to the finals of the North or South State. Coach, what have you learned as a coach that you and the staff are able to teach this team about those past, I wouldn't call them failures, but not being able to win those games in the second round?
Well, the first thing is awfully hard to get to the playoffs, and the divisions that we were in, tremendously hard, tremendously tough. And you saw it this year. The same division went down and ended up just getting in the playoffs. They ended up sweeping.
That's right.
So our districts have been tough, and making the playoffs has been an absolutely big honor. And not only making the playoffs, but being able to advance to the second round is quite an accomplishment. And so that's that. And sometimes you take a team, and sometimes they have a ceiling. What we've tried to do here is create an environment and culture for that special group. It takes special groups to win championships, and it just does. And they're hard to win. And we try to create that environment for when that group comes along. They have what they need from us to win it, and we want to consistently do that, and give them all that we got. And but from a learning experience. You have to get your guys ready to play, and you have to be able to really try to let them understand, number one, what's at stake and how to be successful, and set them up for success the very best that we can, and prepare them the very best that we can. And I think that we exhaust everything that we can for our guys, for our program, and trying to do whatever it takes to win. And we've done the same thing this week.
How's practice been? I know that yesterday come out, seemed like things were going good, but what have you seen this week?
Guys are excited. Some of our guys were upset they didn't get to play the whole game against South Tiller. They were ready to go, so they're ready to go. I think the biggest thing is they're having fun. They're excited. We're healthy, and we feel like we've got as good a shot as anybody at this, and we've all worked really hard for it, and they're excited at the next opportunity.
2 weeks in a row, two big games. You're closing out your senior night. I know it was against a 1-9 Columbus team, but that still was a huge ball game for us. And then last week in the playoffs, when it's all on the line, you're able to play reserves in the second half. You always talk about building depth. That's got to be huge for you going into the playoffs in case someone goes down.
Yeah, our practices, those guys that are getting those reps earn those reps, and they're excited to do that. And we do that on many levels. We want to make sure we're protecting our guys from unnecessary injuries, and we also want to get that experience and added depth so our cover won't be bare next year. So we love to do that, and excited about doing that. And it's great to see the roles reverse. It's great to see the starters come and now get to support and have the guys that they're in these meeting rooms with, and same position groups, and now they get to be their cheerleaders. So that's really fun to see too. So we're glad that we got to do that. And I don't know if we'll get to do that again. So anytime that we get an opportunity, we want to take advantage of that.
So kind of a rarity. We're playing the second round at home. The MHSAA made some changes a few years ago on the seedings and the rankings and where you play and where you go. So playing at home this week, only game in town, you got to be excited to know we should have a big crowd here Friday night.
Hopefully have a big crowd. Home field advantage is, that's with the understanding that your crowd is there and making an impact. And we really need a big crowd here to be difference makers and to help whatever way that we can. So we're very proud of that. We're very thankful to be home, looking for a big night, and we want everybody involved because that's our overall goal is everybody on this ride together. So yes, looking for a big crowd, and hopefully we're doing something to give them something to cheer about.
Yeah, you talked about injuries. You're pretty healthy. You feel good in that department?
Yes, injuries we're good, and we'll have all of our guys ready to roll.
All right. What is the key to getting this second round victory over Grenada, Coach?
Well, I think from a defensive standpoint, we've got to do our very best at containing the tailback, and I think he's going to get. He'll get some certain numbers, and whatever that looks like, we'll try to minimize that as much as we can. And then we've got to take the lid off of the big wide out. I mean, he has been a game breaker down the field, chunk plays. So we've got to take the top off of him and really contain the running back. I think special teams, when you look at the game and two teams as evenly as matched at us, Jonah and Maddox and Bo and Harbor and those guys are going to have to be difference makers. I feel like we can get an edge there. Zach in the return game. Having said that, Grenada's got a returner who is their starting cornerback, who's really a good returner and dangerous. He's taken several punts and kickoffs back. We've got to do a good job in that aspect. Those in the special teams, that's going to be a big deal. Offensively, it's consistently moving the ball. I believe. If we'll do what we're supposed to do, that we can control the game. And I think that's what both teams want to do, is control the game and control the line of scrimmage and getting the run game going. And I really feel like whoever gets to do that, whoever establishes that, and they do it for 4 quarters, it will have a really big advantage because that's what both teams really feed off. And so I think that. And lastly, when you have a game like we're expecting, field position is going to be mighty important. Turnovers, the old school football, where every yard matters, where you're at on the field matters. So taking care of the football, creating turnovers on defense, and playing that field position game, it's going to be some tough sledding going on, and that's kind of what we're anticipating. And being that opportunistic old school Viking team, finding a way to win and using all 3 phases to do it.
Do they remind you of any 7A team that we've played this season?
They remind me a lot of Pearl.
Okay.
They remind me a lot of Pearl and what they do, especially from an offensive standpoint, without the running threat of the quarterback. And I feel like their defense is very similar to that as well. So that would be my answer. And again, the defense reminds me a little of Brandon's, with maybe a little undersized but really fast and athletic. So again, man, that's why we've had a good year. We've had some ups and downs. We've learned some lessons, and everything's supposed to be coming together at this point in time. So we've got to put it together and be at our very best.
Well, it's going to be a good time tomorrow night. Very excited about this one, Coach.
Yep.
I want to thank you guys for coming out in the rain last week. I know the rain's something we hadn't seen in 6 to 8 months, but we finally saw it on our opening playoff night. Who would have thunk it? So anyway, thanks to you guys to come out. I know that the conditions weren't the best in the world. Tomorrow night is supposed to be beautiful, though. So we need you all here. We need a crowd. We need to create a home field advantage for these coaches and for these kids to put us over the top. We will play the winner. The winner of this game plays the winner of South Panola and Neshoba Central. We'll see how that plays out, and we plan to be back with you next week talking about this game and talking about the North State game. For Josh Morgan, I'm Brandon Davis. Hopefully we see you in the stands tomorrow night cheering loud for us. Until then, rise up Vikings.